Okay, I changed the camera angle again here. I'd like to drive one off over in here. Hopefully this will show the punch contact a little bit better from this angle. Pretty much showed all the major flake removals on this so far. A little more than I'd intended to do, but get that right on there. Nice and secure. Kind of a puny flake. We'll set one up over here next. It's the next one right here. Try and drive a flake over to about here. Switch into a little bit smaller punch. You can see my hands, the position of my fingers. They're way back here, out away from the flake release point. Hold that in there pretty tight. Okay. Platform set up right here. I want to drive it back in this direction. Well, kind of over here to keep my angles going in this direction. So actually more like that. Going back to my larger punch. Okay, spread out quite a bit. Okay, here's the next platform. I'm doing a lot of pressure flaking on these, trying to get them really well isolated, trying to narrow them down so they're not too wide. If they're too wide, it's just going to take too much force to release them, and this will allow more force to actually carry the flake further across. I'm not getting as many really long overshot flakes as I was hoping, but this will give you an idea. I've got several notches in my punch, but I'm just using the lower one here. It's got the right angle. So how well this mates is pretty important. If I don't get a good mate, a lot of times I'll just pick up another punch and try that. So this seems to be okay on here. And put that on there like that. Got my fingers back here out of the way. Anvil rocks on top. Nice, secure, good mate here. Okay, it didn't work, so I'm going to angle it down a little more. And then it did work. Just a short flake in here to get my ridges under control a little bit better. Same thing over here, just to get a little bit better control of my ridges. Kind of a short flake or a narrow flake. That one kind of junked out on me there. Two platforms. Small one right here, just want to remove a small flake to help this one travel a little bit further, so I'll use a really small punch. When I use these small punches, I like to just go straight in here. Okay, now we can switch over to this larger punch here and try and drive a longer flake off. Yeah, that's what we were after right there. Platform right here, try and take a flake off in here. I'm trying to keep this pattern like this. So this is looking good. This one here, hopefully it won't spread out over there too much and it'll come over here and mate up with that one and it'll look pretty nice. So I've got the angle that I want in line with the existing ridges. Get that set up over there. This is not going to be a major flake, just a small one. Okay, so that went pretty good. Take one off right over in here. This one I really can't angle that much, but I'll angle a little bit just to kind of thin out that base a little bit. Platform on the back side here. Try and keep our ridges, get them a little bit better established on the back side here. Okay, set up another one. Okay, I've got an isolated platform over there. I try to make it nice and narrow. I want to follow this little ridge here. I'm going to be directing my punch more outward rather than inward because I've got a pretty narrow ridge right here. Put my sandwich rock on there. Angle the punch in the same direction as the ridge is going that I want to follow. There we go. Okay, here's a little flake right in here. I want to follow this ridge, clean that up. Notice that when I isolated my platform, hopefully that's showing up in there, I peel it back a little bit more here and here so that I can undercut this because I've got a little bit of a step fracture in there from some of the stuff I did earlier. So we'll see if we can undercut that and maybe go right to about here, halfway or so. Yeah, that was perfect. Okay, and one right in here to clean this up, and that'll look pretty good. That's a little bit close to the center. It's a little risky. We'll give it a try. I think it'll be okay. I'm going to change that platform. I don't want to break this thing. Okay, you can see I narrowed that platform quite a bit, and I moved that edge over in that direction maybe a millimeter or two just to give me a little bit safer margin so that I don't risk breaking this thing. Holding it back here. Just want a nice clean flake termination. And I'm going to angle it in this direction to line up with the previous ridges that we've got. If you stage these flakes right, you can keep that pattern going. Okay. It was a double hit, so we got a little bit of a goofy thing in there, but it's okay. Okay, I've got a little platform set up right over there, trying to follow this ridge. Got part of it, not quite as much as I want it, and I've got one set up over there. This one's a little more important. I've got to undercut this little step fracture that we've got right in here. Got my anchor rock in there, secured to the back face. I don't want to drive it in too far, but I do want to undercut that. It started to go. You can see it right there. I'll have to come up with a plan B here. Got a really small platform set up over there just to try and thin this down a little bit. It's not going to be a long flake using the small punch here. Okay, here's another isolated platform. You can see how that's really super isolated to try and correct this little problem that I put in the rock here a minute ago. Try and undercut that thing. Guess this isn't showing up that well. Okay. There we go. We got pretty much most of that. There's still a little bit left, but you get the idea. Okay, I've got a nice little platform set up right there, and I need to undercut this crack that's in here from a couple of flakes ago here. So I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I tried to really isolate the heck out of that so I can undercut that little crack that's already started. That flake went over to about here and something went wrong on it. So we'll see what happens here. I don't think anything catastrophic is going to happen, but maybe we can undercut it. Okay, we got most of it here. There's a little bit of a bump right there, but that's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop on this. The rest of it would take me quite a bit longer to finish up, but I demonstrated what I wanted to, and we've got some pretty bowl flaking. Looks kind of paleo. We've got some nice ridges established, and what would happen here to finish this thing up is I would need to make additional platforms for all of these ridges, try and follow them out, thin it down a little bit more so that we could actually make you know, a paleo point, maybe a clovis or something like that. But it's pretty well going pretty well, and hopefully that demonstrates the you know, what the punch and the sandwich technique can do.